This is the bridge coffee time. I'm going to do this every week, just have a conversation, see where things are for people. I'll usually come with a question that isn't just for me to answer, but it's something that we can build around when we're having one of these chats. And I'll give my thoughts about it and ask people to share their thoughts also. The question for today is, what's been taking up most of your mental space lately? And it's funny that when I hear that question, my knee jerk reaction is to think about what's been taking up the majority of my time. And it's not really the same thing. So there's a reality that the thing that's been taking up the majority of my time lately is my family and my friends. It's the holiday season. People are off. People are more flexible. It was just my birthday. It was my mother's birthday. There's a series of social gatherings that have happened. And if I go back a little further, some of my best friends had their birthdays in the last couple months. So the thing that's been taking up most of my time lately is social and family stuff. I haven't worked as much as I usually would because my clients are also off and they're taking a break. But when I think about what's been taking up the majority of my mental space, and I would love to hear from other people about this, the thing that's been taking up the majority of my mental space has been areas where we're kidding ourselves, myself included. And a lot of times people are saying things that just aren't true, that they know aren't true for themselves. And I've been checking myself on it and I've been more open. Maybe it's because I'm 52 now, but I've been more open to checking other people on areas where I think they're kidding themselves, not maliciously, not like, oh, you're being stupid, but from a place of, do you really think that's true? And people will pause and they'll say no. And there's also a part where I think we're kidding ourselves with the level of effort that it takes to do certain things or the actions that it takes to achieve certain things, which I know from being a coach is a normal thing. We want to go from 0 to 100 real quick. And it's more realistic to say, well, you're going to go to 5 this week and then you're going to ramp up and get to 10 or 15 or 20 and eventually you get to 100. But unless you have been doing what you need to do to have the kind of machine that can go from 0 to 100 real quick, or have the kind of life where you can go from 0 to 100 real quick, there's a reality that you are not just going to go from 0 to 100 real quick. You are going to need to do the work. And examples that I'm seeing is where we're looking for magic bullets in life. We're looking for things that are just going to change how we live our lives, how we perceive our lives. Easy examples for physical health. I'm just going to start working out 5 days a week, from people who, and this isn't one person, this isn't at anybody, but from people who haven't been active for years. And if you suggested they go for a walk or try to work out once a week, they say, no, 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 I'm just going to work out 5 days a week. And I think it's great that they're motivated. I think it's great that they are saying a thing that they want in life. But there's a reality that even for your physical health, it's going to take a lot of work for you to get from the habits that you have right now of not being a physically active person to being a very physically active person. A person who works out 5 days a week statistically is way on the high end of being physically active. So it's a great goal to have, but we need to not kid ourselves at the level of effort that it takes to go from being a person who is not physically active, which means you don't work out at all. You don't walk anywhere from except for from the car to the mall, for example, and to all of a sudden start working 5 days a week. Even if you do start working out, the sustainability of it is a real challenge. And as much as I want people to go for their goals, and it'll work for some people, but for most people, they are kidding themselves about the level of effort to get to that goal. Another way recently that I've seen that people are kidding themselves is about their relationships and the happiness in their relationships. They are basically looking at their partner, and they can give a list of the things that their partner needs to do to make them happy. And when I say, well, what are you doing about it? What can you control in that area? There's usually a large gap where there isn't stuff that they are doing to work on the thing that they are miserable with their partner about. And big reminder that you should work on what you think you can control first. And I say think you can control because if you start doing the work, you start realizing how much of the things that you think you can control aren't that easy for you to do. So when you're looking at somebody else to suddenly change the habits that they've had or the things that they've been doing, it might be very difficult for them to change that. So it's better to start and lead by example in an area that you want to change than to expect your partner to change it. And there's also the part that I think in that realm of relationships where we're kidding ourselves if we think that being our partner's parental figure is somehow going to be healthy in a romantic, committed, erotic relationship. It might be a role that we play, it might be something fun between two partners, but it's not something that is ideal for most people in their relationship long term. So I think what you want is someone who is aligned with you, but where you're both free to be yourselves and to pursue the things that you are passionate about. In other areas like finance, personal finance specifically, we kid ourselves about the things that we can't do because we've been telling ourselves there's things we can't afford, when a lot of the time what we're doing is the things that we want are getting in the way of the things that we want. And I'm not trying to lock into the boomer mythology of, well, just get rid of your latte and drink coffee at home and you'll be rich. This is not what I'm saying. But what I see in community a lot of the time is the habits are not just a latte, which can add up, right? But the habits might be hundreds of dollars a month on things that the person does like, but there's things they would like even more that would require that money, and they're not willing to reduce the thing that they actually don't care about much to get the thing that they really, really would enjoy. And again, on physical health, the thing that I see is people kidding themselves about what good nutrition looks like. And I say good very loosely because I'm not really prescriptive about how you get good nutrition. I'm more descriptive of, well, you need X amount of protein and fiber and to hydrate. And what I see a lot and what takes up a lot of my mental space is how people think that they are going to consume a certain kind of nutrition and what they expect from their health as adults who are knowledgeable people. These are not, we're not people in my circle anyways, or in my community who are unaware of the impacts of certain kinds of nutrition as far as sugar and processed food and that kind of stuff. Which again, there's nothing wrong with having a treat. I love a treat. If anybody, you know me, I love a treat. But the difference between a treat and regular nutrition should be that a treat is a rare thing. It's a special item. It's not something that you can consume all the time and be healthy. Whatever your treats are. I know for me, a treat is I really want to try everything. I really want, if there are 5 kinds of protein, I want to try them all. If there are 5 kinds of carbs, I want to try them all. But what I know for myself is I can't pile my plate mountain high and then expect to perform well and be healthy later on. It's not something that's going to happen. So for my own mental space, that's taken up a lot of mental space. And I have to remind myself that it is not my task to manage how people are allowing themselves to kid themselves, where they are allowing themselves to just have this kind of separation from what they know and what they're willing to practice. And I do understand that practicing something requires accountability, putting the right people around you, working with the right people so that you can reach your goals. And so I thought about this for myself. I'd love to know what other people, what's been taking up mental space for you. And I'm going to post this video and you can comment below and let me know what you think. And I would love to know what you're trying to do about it. For me, the reminder is to not kid myself. And the thing that I can't kid myself about is how much I can influence other people away from kidding themselves. Because no matter how you explain things to people or how much data you give them, it doesn't always hit. It's not always going to, or even often, make them change. And I think most coaches understand they're in the shifting business and that when they're working with someone, they are working with someone who is ready to do the work. And the difference is that when you're looking at your family and your community, not everybody in your family or community is ready to shift, let alone change. And a shift is like a small part of a change, if you get what I mean. So, yeah, that was my coffee time for the day. And I'd love to know what you think also. Feel free to comment below. Take care.